What is going on, my particle people? My name is Boson Particle, and thank you for joining me here again. So today we're going to ask the question, Fallout 76, does it suck? The easiest way to do this for me was to break it down into 4 different sections: story, multiplayer, looting and crafting, and the gunplay. So let's go ahead and start with story. The best comparison to Fallout 76 that I've seen is to Destiny. At least from what you get from Fallout 76 as a standalone game, not as one game in a series. You get really good gameplay, some great ideas with a gorgeous world, but with no story to bond it together. You get a swift kick in the ass to leave the ghost town of a vault that you start in. Then boom, you're out in the wasteland with several other people, half of which sound like they live inside the inner walls of a Category 5 hurricane. Don't know what I expected with the chat, but I didn't expect proximity voice, as it just blew me away. As you progress along, following the map markers, you listen to audio logs, read entries in computers and journals. Nothing you haven't already heard if you've been looking into the game. But yes, absolutely, this game feels lonely. And it really makes you feel like you are the lone wanderer. I played most of my time in the game with another person in my party. And even with them in the background talking and doing their own thing, I still felt like I was just wandering around looking for clues to where the hell all the NPCs went. And I'm sure as the game progresses, we'll see more developed storylines and more in-depth logs. But so far, it seems to be taking the back seat this time around. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are other types of gameplay that are introduced and focused on a little bit more. But for sure, it is lacking in the story department. So there's not really much else to say about the story. So I'll move on to the multiplayer aspect, which is, of course, the newest aspect of Fallout in this world. Like I mentioned earlier, I was birthed out of Vault 76 and was greeted by a ton of random people talking to each other, laughing, most of them in awe at what their Fallout had become. Some excited and jabbering about, others walking around in circles silently, clearly filled with anxiety. I was called upon by a soft-spoken random asking for details on the world around us. And like him, I was excited to explore what Virginia had to offer. This guy called Pete hung around and chatted as we left the vault and came upon a farm. We killed some enemies together, we learned how to craft some gear, and as we did, I realized that this game was great for multiplayer. I am a huge proponent of games like Destiny, Division, Fortnite, Warframe, and even Overwatch. And not necessarily because I like the games themselves, but because I love to enjoy games that I can play with my friends. Funny moments become funnier, the world opens up with more eyes on your team. Historically, Fallout was never a world that I could really share with my friends, until now. I think that we'll see this great addition to the Fallout world not only get better as time continues, but I think that it's great now. And I think that anyone who likes playing these long-term games with their friends will absolutely love this. This is one of the changes that I welcome. Moving right along, let's talk about the loot system and crafting. Bearing in mind that I only had about 4 hours with the game so far, the loot system seems to be the same as Fallout 4. This can be taken either way. It's not groundbreaking, they're not changing a whole lot, the loot does seem to be a bit more random in things like cabinets and other boxes scattered around random houses. So that is different, I guess. But as far as the loot system and what you can expect to get from your loot sources, it's pretty much Fallout 4. Weapons and gear upgrades can usually be found from public events and airdrop boxes, which I guess are new loot sources, but as a total, it's pretty much expected. I did notice, however, that some enemies will have a little crown near their name, and I pretty much consider these enemies to be legendary enemies. They drop more loot, and oftentimes it's better loot. So this is where you'll really get your good upgraded weapons with mods on them and stuff. Crafting, on the other hand, feels totally new. You have to find plans and blueprints to build most of anything in this world, and I love it. You have to pay attention and pick up the plans that you find in the world, or pay attention and pick up little mods that you find around, maybe an armor workbench or something. You'll need these plans to build foundations and other building pieces like walls and roofs. And same for the resources that your base will usually have, like water pumps and gardens and turrets. And let's not forget the mods that you can put on your weapons and armor. Be on the lookout for the mods because they can be scattered around the world, or even check out the closest vendor because they'll sell them there as well. Because of these changes with crafting and modding, it makes the game a little bit more dependent on RNG and grinding, yes. But I'm not mad at it. I think with this, it's gonna push people to try new things, and if not change the gameplay, it should definitely pace it a bit. So again, this is a change that I am very welcome to. Well, in this case, I guess I saved the worst for last. Shooting or the gunplay. My God, when you take a first-person RPG and turn it into an MMO first-person RPG, minus the emphasis on RPG, you would think that some of the focus would have been shifted to the first-person shooter part. Aiming just seems slow and clunky. Weapon handling still feels really weird. All of these things are the same in Fallout 4. It was just a little bit more forgivable in a game that was mainly driven by story. And you had VATS, which slowed things down a bit, making the handling a little less ridiculous. But oh my, do you notice it in this game? Bullet registration can be a nightmare, and sometimes just non-existent. At one point in the game, I was shooting a Scorched point blank with a revolver, and not a single bullet was hitting until I started to ADS. And while I'm thinking about it, aiming down sights wouldn't be hurt with a little bit of boost to handle time and to aim down sight speed. Altogether, the first-person shooter portion of Fallout 76 needs some polish. And even though it's bad, don't get me wrong, it's still playable. And that's good news. But the even better news is since this game is a live server game, and we've only been playing the beta, we can expect to see changes. We can expect to see things tighten up and be polished a little bit. And as the game develops over time, as Bethesda releases patches to fix these problems, it's really going to become something great. But right now, this, to me, is the worst part about Fallout 76. I am super hopeful to see what this game becomes, but we'll have to see. So I've given you my thoughts and opinions on a few parts of Fallout 76 as a whole. So that begs the question, does Fallout 76 suck? Not even a little sucky. No, the game is still the Fallout that we love. It has the story, even though it's been watered down quite a bit and been turned into pretty much just a tool for exploration. But that doesn't mean that the game is bad now. It just shows that Bethesda is willing to play with the recipe, to experiment and bring the world of Fallout to everyone. The game is a good experience to play whether you're alone and you want to mute everyone on the server and truly become the lone wanderer, or to join your friends or even some randoms and explore together. With some time and some help from the fans, I think this game will be one of the greats. But hey, that's just my opinion, I guess. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And did I miss something big, or was I just flat wrong? Let me know that too. As always, thanks for watching. My name is Boson Particle, and I'll see you next time.